Hills was opened in 1998, and that was across the street from the DMV on the corner of Moulton Parkway and Ridge Route. And I was there in that location for 10 years, sold that office, and we moved to Spain and traveled around Europe for 3 years with the family. And after coming back to Laguna in 2011, I opened Laguna Beach Legal. So Laguna Beach Legal, the banner says 1400 South Coast Highway, but we've actually moved to, we're in Boat Canyon now. And so the office is right next to the UPS store in Boat Canyon. And basically, what on each table there's a packet of documents, and the packet has a magnet, a business card, a brochure, and some information on credit repair. And for the people that aren't at a table, there's also some brochures and packets on the front table. But so I know a couple weeks ago we talked about credit repair, and so that's why we printed out a separate document on credit repair, just to give you some information on what we do for that. And then what I do a lot of legal documents, and I've been doing it for a long time, and I'm very successful at it. But I think that my passion is mediation. I'm a mediator, and I do a lot of divorce mediation, and I have a 99% success rate in divorce mediation. So if anybody knows anyone that's going through divorce and is going through attorneys for a divorce, attorneys are the only ones that win in a divorce situation. Nobody wins. Even if you win, you lose. Your children lose, everybody loses. So if I can help anybody, we've made it affordable. We have a $500 a month payment plan for mediated divorces. There's more information in the brochure on the divorce. And then as far as the credit repair, well, what we do for the credit repair is we send out letters, and the brochures do say it, but I'll kind of touch on the different items. We send out letters to the credit reporting agencies. We'll first sit down and identify which items are negative. Sometimes there's things that are being reported multiple times, and that multiple reporting is what affects your credit score. So if you have, something that is a collection and then it's reported one time, it may be a 40-point reduction in your score. But then if it's reported 3 separate times by 3 credit reporting agencies, then that reduces your score even more. So the duplicate reportings come off right away. The paid collections come off sometimes. In some instances, it really depends on what they are. And on average, our credit repair raises the credit score from 40 points to 100 points. So it really depends on the situation. It takes 60 days. So from start to finish, and there are a few people in the room that have had our services, so I'll ask them if they'd like to share their experiences at the end. And then the other thing that we do is we help set up corporations. So basically what we do with setting up corporations is we just file the paperwork with the Secretary of State, order a corporate kit, order a disc that has sample minutes and bylaws for your corporation. We also do it for nonprofits. So I know there's a lot of nonprofits in Laguna, and we do a lot of paperwork for nonprofits. We're not attorneys. We do not give legal advice. If you need advice, I work with a lot of very qualified attorneys, and I'm a great referral source for those attorneys, and we'll send you to an attorney that will give you the legal advice that you need. But for the most part, most people know exactly what it is that they want. So this is an alternative to a legal Zoom. You're getting a personal touch, you're dealing with a person that's there to help you and answer your questions and give you updates on how the progress is going. So, and then, let's see, we do child custody modifications, power of attorneys, our living trust packets. We do a lot of living trusts, and our living trust packets, we charge $750 for a living trust, and for that $750, what you would get, and this is for a single person, the price goes up slightly when it's a married couple because there's double documents, but for a single person, what they would get is they would get the trust, they would get the certification of trust, they would get a pour-over will, they would get a power of attorney for financial, and a power of attorney for healthcare. We also give a generic letter written to doctors to release medical information. So basically anything that would be needed throughout that process is in the packet. Hopefully you don't need you know, everything that's in there, but it's there. So the springing power of attorney, what that is the power of attorney that says that if you are not, if somebody goes into a bank with a death certificate and there is a trust on file with the bank, then the bank will give them access to the account as the successor trustee. But if somebody goes into a bank with a death certificate and the trust was not registered, then what happens is that the bank puts a hold on that account and freezes it until probate takes place. And probate sometimes takes up to 2 years. It really depends on the amount of the money in the account. Now there is something called a small estate affidavit, which is for estates that aren't of large value, and those don't have to go through probate. But for the most part, real estate does have to go through probate, and that means that the payments have to be made for 2 years while the probate process is going on. It opens it up to foreclosure, to losing the property. Most people don't have paid off properties. So probate is it's just a really nasty thing, and if you can avoid it with $750, then it's definitely worth avoiding it, and I think everyone should have one. And also, the living trust, another good thing about the trust is if you have minor children, then you're putting who you would like guardianship of your minor children to go to. So your wishes are documented, and that's always nice to have your wishes documented. And if your spouse, and then community property laws, the way that they work is if you're a married couple and you have assets together, well, if one spouse dies, it automatically goes to the other spouse. Well, if you have children together and your spouse goes through a midlife crisis after your death and decides to get remarried to a 20-year-old and has a heart attack, then that 20-year-old is the one that gets the assets. So your children don't get your assets because of the way that the law is set up. So it's set up so that your spouse gets the assets first, and then your children get the assets. And it doesn't matter if that spouse is not the parent of the children or not. So there's a lot of really great reasons to have a living trust. And I really don't know. I don't know if anyone has any questions or anything. If I forgot to address anything, I'd be happy to. This is a slideshow. It just has different pictures from the office. I didn't know what to do, so I just thought we'd throw some pictures together just to kind of let you put a face on who we are.
Let me get a question over here, then I'll bring the mic there. Is that all right?
That'll be fine.
Hi, I've used Laguna Legal Services on referral several times, and they do a really, really good job. I would encourage everyone to take a look at the offer.
Thank you, Brett.
When you set up a living trust and there's real estate involved, do you also retitle the deed in the name of that living trust? Is that part of your service?
It's not part of the $750 cost, but it is part of our service. So it's an additional cost. It's $150 per property for us to prepare the deeds and notarize it. And by the way, that $750 includes notarizing and witnessing. So I'm a notary, and I don't do mobile notary like John Hoover does. Our notary is set up for our office and for the clients that come into our office.
I also have an experience that I'd like to share in using Ellie. My name is Ron Rayner with Bank Home Loans. I had a client that's been in Laguna Beach, a doctor for 20 years, and we wanted to do a simple, on a couple of his properties, get a vesting corrected with his trust. And so I called my litany of escrow companies that I've worked with over the years, and I thought, because I didn't have an open escrow, I couldn't get anyone to accommodate us. And so that's how I met Ellie. She talked to my client and was able to get them taken care of in no time. So it was a great experience. Thank you.
Thank you.
Got that monkey off my back.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just had a quick question.
There was a huge announcement that FICO relaxed a big policy, and you might have just touched on it. I don't know. I think it was on collected accounts that they were going to delete those. Is that? I heard it on KNX. I was just curious. That was some big mainstream change.
I think I know what he's referring to. If you don't mind my answering the question for what little I know about it. One of the things that hurts the credit score really badly is a medical collection. And they just recently announced that the newest version of FICO score coming out will give less of a penalty to those that have a medical collection. And however, that's not yet been incorporated in the Fannie Mae Freddie Mac automated underwriting programs yet, and it might be a little bit of time before that's really in effect. But I think it's the right thing for them to do, and reduce the impact of a medical collection. So many people have one, don't even know they have one until they apply for a mortgage, and then it's kind of too late to fix it.
Yeah, medical collection companies are they're relentless. They are and devious, and it's very hard to get them off your credit. So that's great news. That's good. I have it.
Ellie, on the living trust, you said that's for just one individual. So if I let my husband be part of my trust, how much more?
It's $1,000 for a married couple.
Okay.
And basically it's an extra $250, and you're getting 2 wills, 1 for each spouse, 2 power of attorney for financials, 2 power of attorney for health care, 2 medical releases.
Can you, if somebody already has a living trust and they want to make changes, adding assets or do whatever, can you do amendments or do changes like that? Okay.
Absolutely.
Good.
We do them all the time. Oh, if somebody has a living trust and they need to do an amendment, then we do that. We also do a lot of restatements. So sometimes it's the entire trust has changed, but they don't want, all their assets are held in the name of the trust. So that the trust owns their houses, their bank accounts, and they don't want to go through the funding process. So what we can do is we do a restated living trust, and that keeps the same name, same date, but complete new information. Or if it's just amending, for instance, a beneficiary or a successor trustee, then we can do that as well.
Okay, good.
How much would the restated living trust be?
If we're restating all the documents, then it would be the same as a new living trust. Basically, it's a brand new living trust, it's just keeping the old name. If it's an amendment, then it would be between $250 to $500, depending on what the extent of the amendment.
Any other questions? If not, I've got a testimonial for Ellie as well. If you don't mind, I'll go ahead and add that too. I recently referred my nephew and his wife, my niece-in-law, I guess you'd call her, to Ellie for credit repair situations. There's nothing worse than turning down a relative for a mortgage. It's not good for the family.
Especially when it's your wife's side.
And my niece had a couple of blemishes on her credit report. One was a duplicate account, a couple other little things that Ellie was able to get cleared up. We got her credit score raised enough to make her loan, and thanks, Ellie. You did a great job on it. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right, great.
I think we have one more question.
In relationship to real property in a trust, can you, if you have it in a trust and it's passed on to your children, will the tax that the county requests stay the same?
Yes.
Passed through?
Yes, absolutely.
And this will this be in all cases on all real property?
If it's a parent-child transfer, then there's laws for that. And then a living trust is, they're inheriting the property, but because it's a parent-child transfer, then that falls under a certain, and I don't know the code section, but the county recorder has a special section for parent-child transfers.
Still have the POC.
It's on their website too.
Is it? Yeah, we just call it the POC when you do the
living
transfer,
trust,
right?
the amount changes every
The change of
year.
ownership?
But it's in the $5 million range now, and every year it changes. So it really depends on the year of the death.
Anytime you do a grant deed, you file a change of ownership form, so that tells what's going on and tells the county not to reassess if it falls in their guidelines.
Yes, absolutely. We always prepare a preliminary change of ownership report with the deeds.
Cool.
Thank you very much.